rain had just stopped, leaving a silver sheen on the streets outside the cafe. Inside, the smell of roasted coffee beans and vanilla filled the air, wrapping around her like a fragile promise of warmth. Emma sat by the window, her fingers curled around a mug that had long gone cold. Her reflection stared back at her from the glass, eyes full of hope she didn't want to admit, and a loneliness she couldn't quite hide. It was her first blind date in 5 years. 5 long years since she'd let anyone close. She'd almost canceled that morning, staring at the text from her best friend that read, "Just go, Em. You deserve happiness again." So she came. She even wore the blue dress her late mother used to say brought out the light in her eyes. But now, after waiting an hour, that light was dimming. The seat across from her was still empty, and the seconds felt cruel. She checked her phone again. No messages, no calls, just silence. A sigh escaped her lips. Maybe she was a fool to think that love, real love, could ever find her again. Maybe she was destined to be the one always watching others get their happy endings. She'd been hurt before, left behind without answers, and rebuilding herself had taken every ounce of strength she had. She stood up, ready to leave. Her heart felt heavy, her chest tight with disappointment she didn't want to feel. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Just as she reached for her coat, a small voice broke through the cafe's soft chatter. "Excuse me, miss. Are you Miss Emma?" Emma froze. The voice was tiny, shy, and when she turned, she saw 2 little girls standing at the entrance. They were identical. Twin curls, twin dresses, and the same big hazel eyes filled with nervous excitement. One of them was clutching a stuffed bunny. The other was holding a small flower, its petals a little crushed. Emma blinked, confused. "Yes, I'm Emma," she said softly. The smaller twin stepped forward, her voice trembling but brave. "Our daddy's sorry he's late." Before Emma could respond, a man appeared behind them. Tall, a little out of breath, his hair damp from the rain. He carried a bouquet of daisies, water droplets still clinging to the petals. His eyes, kind, brown and tired, met hers with an expression of pure apology. "I'm so sorry," he said, his voice warm and sincere. "There was an accident on the way here, and these 2 insisted on helping me pick flowers to make it up to you." Emma stared at him, momentarily speechless. His presence filled the space like sunlight filtering through clouds. There was something about him, not the way he looked, but the way he carried himself. A quiet sadness and a gentleness that didn't need words. He smiled awkwardly. "I'm Daniel," he said, extending a hand, "and these 2 troublemakers are Lily and Lucy." The twins giggled. "We're not troublemakers." Emma couldn't help but laugh. The tension melted and she gestured for them to sit. The girls climbed into their seats eagerly, and Daniel sat down across from her, still looking like he owed her the world. The awkwardness of a blind date was gone, replaced by the soft chaos of spilled juice, children's laughter, and shy glances between 2 adults who hadn't expected this moment to mean anything. Daniel explained that his wife had passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. He'd spent most of that time focused entirely on his daughters. Dating wasn't something he thought he could ever do again, but his sister had set up this meeting, insisting he needed companionship. Emma listened quietly, her heart aching for the stranger sitting across from her. He didn't speak like a man looking for romance. He spoke like someone still learning how to live again. When she told him about her own losses, how her mother's passing had left her shattered, how loneliness had built silent walls around her heart, Daniel didn't look away. He simply nodded, understanding. There was comfort in that. Not pity, not empty sympathy, just shared grief, quietly understood. As the evening unfolded, the rain returned, tapping gently against the window. The girls began drawing on napkins with crayons from their little backpacks. Daniel watched them fondly, then turned to Emma with a smile. "I don't know what I expected tonight," he admitted, "but I'm glad I didn't give up and go home." Emma smiled softly. "Me too." The cafe owner dimmed the lights, and the world outside blurred into a painting of rain and reflection. For the first time in years, Emma felt peaceful, like maybe life hadn't forgotten her after all. When the twins tugged at her sleeve, showing her a crayon drawing of Daddy and Miss Emma, she laughed so hard she almost cried. Daniel apologized again, embarrassed, but Emma just shook her head. "They're sweet," she said. "They remind me of what hope looks like." The night ended not with promises or sparks, but with something much rarer: sincerity. Daniel offered to walk her to her car, and as they stood in the soft drizzle, he hesitated before saying, "I don't know if you'd want to see us again, but the girls might be heartbroken if you don't." She smiled, tucking her hair behind her ear. "Then I guess I don't have much choice, do I?" They laughed, and for the first time in years, Emma's laughter wasn't forced. It was real. Over the next few weeks, Emma saw them often. Sometimes it was lunch at the park. Sometimes helping the twins bake cookies that always ended up too burnt on the edges. And sometimes it was just quiet coffee with Daniel, sharing stories of the people they'd lost and the ones they'd become after grief. One chilly afternoon, as the girls played in the garden, Daniel handed Emma a daisy, the same kind from that first night. "You know," he said softly, "I thought I was broken. That love wasn't meant for me anymore. But meeting you, it's reminded me that sometimes life gives us a second sunrise." Emma's eyes glistened. "Maybe love isn't about finding someone new," she whispered, "but finding a reason to start over." He smiled. "And maybe starting over is easier when two little girls are cheering you on." The twins waved at them from the swing set, giggling. "Daddy, come push us," they called. Daniel laughed and turned to her. "Come on, we can push them together." And as Emma joined him, her heart felt full in a way it hadn't in years. Not perfect, not healed, but hopeful. Months later, on a spring evening, Emma sat in the same cafe where it had all begun. The seat across from her wasn't empty anymore. Daniel sat there sipping coffee, pretending to look serious, while the twins tried to hide a cupcake behind his back. Life had changed, not in a dramatic, cinematic way, but in the quiet unfolding of everyday moments. Shared laughter, shared pain, shared healing. Sometimes love doesn't arrive on time. It comes late, sometimes years late, carried in the hands of two little girls holding crushed flowers, whispering, "My daddy's sorry he's late." And when it does, you realize that maybe the wait was worth it all along. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about love, hope, and second chances. What does a second chance mean to you? Have you ever met someone who reminded you that it's never too late to love again? Because sometimes the most beautiful beginnings start with being brave enough to show up, even when the seat across from you is still empty.